What is up, Packer fans? Back again. The Packers win down in Arizona after being stuck at the airport in Green Bay for 5.5 hours. They finally made it down there. They started out very slow in a game that they were not leading until the final 2 minutes and ended up winning against the Cardinals, who go to 2-5 now and have lost 5 games. All their 5 games have been by a combined 13 points. Sad for the Cardinals, but great for Green Bay. Big win on the road. First Packers win on the road. We know we lost in Cleveland, and then we tied the Cowboys. So big win for Green Bay. Big win for the young defense, and then obviously for Jordan Love and the offense, just to kind of get things going, their feet underneath them. They have a big game next week against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Come back for a video on that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. And so for the Packers, what a big win. Obviously, started out real slow. The Cardinals got on top of them, got a field goal. The first drive for the Packers, really not good. And then, obviously, just had trouble getting things going. They couldn't stop the Cardinals on third down a lot of the time in the first half. Cardinals were 7 of 14 on third down. And so the Packers just couldn't get anything going. They ended up tying the game 3-3, and then the Cardinals took a 6-3 lead. And then Trey McBride 13-6. I don't know how you don't cover Trey McBride. He had 10 catches wide open for a few of the plays. I don't know why you don't just man-to-man him and then play zone elsewhere or whatever. At least if you're running zone, have a zone where you cover their best guy. I don't know. But anyway, so for the Packers, starting out slow, down 13-3 right before half. I think there was like 7 seconds left. They got the ball at the 35 because Arizona decided to kick it into the back of the end zone. The Packers, nice throw to Romeo Doubs from Jordan Love. I was hoping that they would do this. They would try to push it and try to get a field goal. I didn't think Lucas Haversick could make a 61-yard field goal or longer than that, but this guy has a leg. The guy that was supposed to be a substitute teacher set the Packers all-time record for longest field goal. I think Crosby's was about 58, and I know some of the other kickers over the years, Longwell, I think, was like 57, 58. So Packers history for Lucas Haversick, pretty exciting. What a kick, though. A little bit of momentum swing going into halftime, made it 6-13. Packers were going to get the ball at half. I was really optimistic that they would do something with the ball then, and they came out and they really fizzled. They kind of sucked. And so that was why Rashawn Gary's sack forced fumble was so big. Get the Packers the ball back, get down, have Josh Jacobs run to the end zone for the touchdown, and tie the game up at that point. So really kind of the first time complimentary football throughout the game for the Packers. And obviously Jordan Love, played well but not great. Only 179 yards and a touchdown. He was like 19-29. So some incompletions. No drops, though. The Packers really have cleaned up this drop issue, knock on wood, just because last year there was a lot of drops, and this year they just really have been able to clean that up. Obviously, Dontavia Wicks just not getting the targets that he was getting last year. Now Jaden Reed is going to come back in a few weeks. Watson hopefully comes back this week for the Steelers game. So I know Romeo Doubs kind of stepping up as that wide receiver one. He had 6 catches, 73 yards. Tucker Kraft, 5 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. And Golden, again, making some big grabs. Only 4 catches for 37 yards, a little less than the last few weeks. He was kind of on an upward trajectory, but now he kind of had a down game. But big catches all in all. And yes, this Packers offense kind of was fizzling through the first half and then kind of started getting things going in the second half. I mean, Brissett on third down, he just was making some big throws. Marvin Harrison Jr. making some big catches. I know he only had 2 grabs for over 50 yards, but the catches he had were big. He did have that one knocked out by Nixon. I thought that was going to be a forced fumble, one of the first ones of the year. Obviously, Gary got the first one of the year for the Packers on the strip sack. But for the Packers, kind of, holding Marvin Harrison in check, but he did have some big grabs, and then obviously Trey McBride, and then Zay Jones had the big grab on the sideline. That looked like it was going to get tipped, and he caught it falling, near the out of bounds. But for the Packers, it just wasn't enough in the first half. That's why the second half, getting things going, getting Gary. I mean, if Gary didn't force that fumble at that time, if the Cardinals can go down and get points, now it kind of pushes it to 16-6, or if they scored a touchdown, it'd be 20-6 at that point. And that obviously that strip sack and touchdown by Jacobs was huge. And then it was back and forth. Then the defense started playing a little bit better. Offense started moving the ball. Josh Jacobs ended up with 2 touchdowns. Not a lot of yards on the day, only 55 on 13 touches, but still really, really productive. 2 touchdowns for the 3rd game in a row. That's 6 in 3 games. Only 254 yards rushing in the 3 games, but the 6 touchdowns. Obviously, he knows how to find the end zone. The Packers were only 3 of 10 on 3rd down, but they were 2 of 3 on 4th down. The one at the end of the game where they kind of, I don't know, they were going to kick a field goal and tie it, then they called timeout, ran the play, and when Jordan Love threw it, I was like, why are you throwing it so far for the 1st down? Why not just get the 1st down? But what a catch by Tucker Kraft, what a throw by Jordan Love, what a call by Matt LaFleur. Obviously, if they don't catch it, they don't get the 1st down there, that's a big turning point, and they probably go on to lose the game. So sometimes you got to be aggressive, and when it pays off, obviously you look great, but if it didn't work, then they look stupid. So, so Quay Walker, he had a sack and a half. That guy is just running crazy. I mean, he is so explosive and powerful and just running, just so aggressive and, destructive. But causing a sack and a half, getting a holding call at two, I believe. And so he's playing really well. I just hope he kind of can keep it in check a little bit and not get injured. Kingsley Enagbare, he ended up with the other half of the sack. And then Gary got the sack, and obviously Micah Parsons with 3 sacks on the day. I hear Skip Bayless talk all the time about how his sacks were only chase down sacks and they don't come at big times of the game. Well, Parsons had a big sack in the 1st quarter to kind of slow down the momentum of the Cardinals, and then he had big sacks throughout the game, especially the one in the 4th quarter to kind of shut down that drive and make them kick the field goal. So obviously I don't care what Skip says, but it's just funny because obviously Micah getting held all the time, getting double teamed, all these things. I feel like he's still one of the top players in the league, NFC defensive player or NFL defensive player of the year candidate for sure. And after a 3-sack game, something he never did with the Cowboys, pretty exciting to see how his game ended up. I just thought against some of the quarterbacks we had played against earlier in the season, Dak and Flacco twice, obviously. Flacco is old. He's not going to run around. He's just going to get rid of the ball. And then when he got to the Bengals, obviously he's got better receivers to throw to. But for the Packers, this was a game where even if Murray was playing, I felt like we could get some sacks on him. And then with Brissett playing, I felt like we could get some sacks on him. He just doesn't have that quick release. He can't get rid of the ball quick, but I just felt like he was going to hold on to it a little bit longer and we'd be able to get home. And that's what happened. Gary obviously getting the strip sack was huge. And then obviously the rest of the team getting the 5 other sacks. 6 sacks on the day, the forced fumble, and then obviously just kind of keeping the Cardinals in check in the second half, holding them to only 10 points. And then the Packers just kept it going in the second half, playing really good offense, running the ball. I want to see Emmanuel Wilson kind of get going a little bit more. He kind of fizzled out the last few weeks, but we'll see him get going. Big game coming up here against the Steelers, Sunday Night Football in Pittsburgh. Another road game for the Packers, and after the weird thing at the airport, I hope that the Packers can kind of rebound and get rested, get healthy for this week. Maybe we'll see Christian Watson. Maybe we'll see a little package of him in there for the Packers. But big week, obviously 2 games back-to-back on the road. It's a big win for Green Bay to get this win against Arizona, so let's see if they can keep it going against the Steelers next week. Don't forget to come back for a video for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. Thanks again for watching. Peace out, guys. Go Pack Go. We are 4-1-1 on top of the division. We'll see what happens in the Lions game. Hopefully they lose, so peace out, guys.